cash flow analysis is great for comparing different types of properties in different price ranges and different loan programs. Sometimes when you take a quick look at a property, it would seem like one might be a better deal than another until you actually follow through and do the cash flow analysis. Sometimes when you get to the bottom line on the reports, the differences in properties will surprise you. For example, which is a better deal, a $310,000 fourplex with $2,600 a month rents, or a $230,000 duplex with rents of $1,850 a month? In this case, I've already taken a look at both of these properties, and I have the completed reports that I'm going to show you in just a second. The first report is the fourplex that I mentioned just a moment ago, priced at $310,000 with $2,600 a month income. When you go through and you look at the numbers, in this case, this property actually has a negative cash flow of about $120 a month. Now let's take a look at the $230,000 duplex with $1,850 a month rents. When we get to the bottom line on this property actually has a positive cash flow of $80 a month. So in these two examples, just by doing a quick financial analysis, you can see that you would be better off buying the duplex by about $200 a month in total cash flow. This is one of the main reasons why I want to share this type of analysis tool with you. Another strong benefit of financial analysis is it helps you to see the cost-benefit analysis of what quality of neighborhood you were picking. By going up in price range, you will get a better neighborhood, but at some point there will be rapidly diminishing returns. By comparing properties with just slightly different price ranges, maybe $25,000, $50,000, or $75,000 apart, after a few quick tries, you will quickly discover where the sweet spot is for your individual comfort levels and how nice of a neighborhood you should be buying before the diminishing returns wipe out the benefit of picking a better neighborhood. It also will help in picking the right loan too. You can compare different loan programs to one another and see the effects on your bottom line. Does it have to be perfect? No, not at all. Our goal is a tool to quickly help guide you to better decisions by comparing relative measurements of cash flow between properties. You see, the thing is that as long as you're using the same basic assumptions on different properties, even if it's not exactly right, it will compare those two properties effectively and help you make a better decision between those two properties. Let's get started. Once you download the file to your desktop and click on it, you will likely see something like this at the top that says Enable Editing. Don't worry, this isn't a virus. This just allowed the spreadsheet to communicate from one page to another. So click on the Enable button. Once you click on the Enable button, you're going to see this screen. You click on the Proceed to Software, and this is where you can change the address of the property so that if you're saving more than one property and you want to compare them to one another, in this case I'm just going to go ahead and hit Update because I don't want to change the address. Okay, this program, there's a number of tabs at the bottom of the screen, and what's really important is to just know where the main tabs are where you need to change anything. So in the beginning, the first place you're going to want to come to is the tab that says Analysis Interface. This is the only place in the software where you can change the price. I know a lot of times you would want to think that you could change the price in the main inputs, but you can't. And this is something that kind of tripped me up in the beginning until I figured it out. This page has a lot of assumptions. So each time you're going to only change the price here, and it will show the monthly cash flow and the cash on cash return. But here in these fields is where you're going to put in your basic assumptions. Like, for example, we're going to have an annual growth rate for each of the units of 3%. And our expenses, we're going to put in that each of them are going to go up 3% a year. You can put whatever assumptions you want in here. For the sake of this spreadsheet, I've put in 12 years is a holding period, with an annual appreciation rate of 5%. Historically, over the last 100 years, there's been about a 4% annual increase. So again, you can adjust these figures. I don't adjust them every time, I just leave them the same once they get set up. This assumes that you would be a passive participant, depreciating the building over 27.5 years, that the land is 20% of the value. Maybe you might want to put that the land is 25%. In these two fields, you put in your federal and state combined tax bracket. So in this case, I have 35% with an assumption of a 20% capital gain and a 6% cost of sale. The next section to focus on is the tab that says Main Inputs. In this case, you can have up to 12 different types of units. So in this case, I have all 4 of the units are 2-bedroom, 1-bath units. They're all 895 square feet, and they're all rented for $795 per month. So you can see it calculated 4 times $795 times 12 to an annual rent. If you'd like, you could click down here and you could make this, say you could say this is 2 units like that, and then you could say I have another 2 units that are 2-bedroom, 895 square feet, but maybe those are renting at 810. You can see it will change the numbers accordingly, and this could be done for 4 individual units or all of the same types. This really is up to your personal preference. We're showing an annual growth rate of rents of 3% as the default. I think that's very conservative right now. We're in a rapidly rising rent market currently in the Sacramento area. I am making an assumption of a 5% vacancy loss. You can adjust this according to your comfort level, but like I said earlier, what's most important here is that we have a relative measurement between properties. If you're looking at the difference between a single family house, a duplex, or a fourplex, you will have to adjust these vacancy accordingly. The single family house will have the lowest vacancy loss typically, a duplex a little bit higher, and a fourplex even higher yet. If you have any kind of rental concessions, you can put this in. Management fee, I'm using a base of 6%. But if you're buying a duplex, usually most of them have a minimum cost of about $150 a month. If you're buying a fourplex, most of those have a minimum cost of about $250 per month for management. You can get as detailed or not detailed as you like with some of these things, but I kind of just stick with the basics in the beginning. I have a hazard insurance here of $150 a month. This is probably fine for a 4 to 8 unit building. If you were going to be looking at a duplex, I'd be using somewhere between $1,000 and $1,200. For a single family home, I'd probably be using a figure of about $650 per month. Going down a little further, you can put in your repairs and maintenance if you'd like. Most of the time, you might have months go by with none, but some people like to put in a number there so that they can plan for long-term capital improvements like roofs, or rental turns. Some people like to use a figure of 1% of the property value per year for maintenance, and then they could fund a sinking fund for when those repairs come up so that you aren't surprised. Property taxes. In the Sacramento area, I like to use 1.25% of the value per year. So you would take, in this case, 310,000 times 0.0125 in your calculator, divide that by 12. That's going to give you your monthly figure to put in here. That's high in most cases because the tax base is just a little over 1%, but some properties will have some miscellaneous Melrose or other taxes. So I like to use a 1.25% figure there. If there's a homeowners association, you put it in there. Same thing with this set of numbers down here. You can individually go into each individual component, your water, your sewer, your electricity, your gas. You might have up here, we had janitorial, you might have lawn maintenance. There could be a lot of different types of properties. But what I usually do in a quick analysis is that I will figure that each unit is going to be about $100 to $110 a month for water, sewer, and garbage. If you're getting into a multifamily building where they have a group trash can or something like that, you really want to try to separate them out, because in some cases it can be a bit of a savings there. But if you use about $100 to $110 per month per unit, I think you're going to be pretty safe. And again, the goal of this financial analysis is to do a relative comparison between properties to help you determine what is the right type of property and what is the right price point before you see diminishing returns. Moving down the page, if we are using financing, you can put the assumptions of the financing here. So in this case, I'm assuming a 25% down payment, and I have a rate of 4.8%. It even gives the ability to have a blended first and second mortgage, but I'm not going to do that because right now with the cost of first mortgages, it doesn't make sense most of the time to consider any kind of a second. There's some basic assumptions about what the loan will cost. Again, I don't really use this too much. I'm more focused on the cash flow aspect of it. So if you'd like, you can do this. This can also help you decide whether it's better to pay points to buy the rate down or not when you're doing your cash flow analysis. That's one of the things I alluded to earlier in this video. So it can be useful when you get to that point. Once you've had the basic assumptions in here, and as you could see, it probably wouldn't take you more than 5 minutes or so to do this, you click on the Property Summary tab. Now in this case, I downloaded a picture of the property into the spreadsheet a little earlier, but you certainly don't need to do that. All of this stuff can be updated or not. When you're doing financial analysis as an individual investor, I usually would just leave this blank. In this example, this property was $325,000, and we're seeing a cap rate of 7.09%. That's a very high cap rate in the Sacramento area right now, and one of the reasons for that is that, one, I beefed up the rents just a little bit when I was playing with the spreadsheet with you. The second thing, I don't have any maintenance factored in there. If I factored in maintenance of a few $100s a month, it would change the numbers a little bit, but they would still look pretty decent. When you're done putting all of this into the program, you can use this button here that says Print Reports. Now in my case, I have Adobe Acrobat, so I can print these as a Adobe file. Another program that some people like to use, it's a free download, it's called Cute PDF. That will allow you to create a PDF of these. These are the 4 reports that you get for free as part of the shareware program, and I'm going to show you those in a minute. If you want to buy the fully licensed version, it's pretty reasonable and you would get a lot more report capabilities. So I'm going to hit the print selected, then I'm going to hit proceed. Once the report is created, you can take a look down the report. You're going to see your price, you're going to see your cap rate, you're going to see your down payment, and this is on the annual property operating data report. You can also see in this case that this would have a $7,000 a year positive cash flow. Going down into the second page, the operating income report. All of this gets automatically populated from the assumptions that you did before. You can see the vacancy rate, you can see concessions, you can see management fee. Really makes for a nice report. If you're into this, you can look at your long-term growth rates of cash flow and appreciation for the property. This will show all the management fee, and it will also show your operating reports. But probably the most important thing is getting back to where it actually shows where the property is going to break even or not. And that's this number here. And on the summary report, this number actually does probably a little, this report, annual property operating data report, actually provides a little bit more useful view of an overview of everything than even the summary report. But the summary report is good again. So hopefully this brief tutorial will help you get started on the road to financial analysis. If you have any questions, don't be afraid to give me a call.